Hello and welcome to the Rhythm Factory. I'm Eddie C, and together with my co-host Peter D, we're going to bring you in touch with people in and around the music business. This is the podcast that takes you up close and personal. Hi everybody, and once again, welcome to the Rhythm Factory podcast. The podcast that brings you up close and personal. And to my right, my colleague, Mr. Peter D. My name is Eddie C, and our special guest for today is not Jacco Jacco Minnaard. Jacco, before we start, just tell briefly a little bit about what you're doing and about yourself.
Yes, in daily work, I'm a project manager. Netvo Go, official title. It's Netvo is Netherlands Philharmonic Orchestra, okay. And it's a big orchestra.
Okay.
And I'm working with the musicians of the orchestra to make classical music more accessible to all sorts of people, and fantastic. Especially kids.
Okay, I know you told us that you were like you say, the organizational and the yes. educational part of the music industry, because we like to touch base with different elements in and around the music business, and you're doing that instead of being a full-time musician. But was this a conscious choice that you made? Because I know you as, conductor and a musician. I know you're playing bass and
conductor of the big band,
yeah.
The Sky Blasters. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, in a way, yes. Because I always, music is a very important, essential thing in my life.
Yeah.
And I was always playing music on accordion and guitar, and but not. As a profession in that way. I'm not studying on my instrument. I don't like it. So I call myself a little bit autodidact. I don't know the English word, but
I say it again.
Autodidact. I'm self-learning.
You're self-teaching.
Self-teaching. Yes, yeah. Of course. I have had a lot of lessons on guitar and piano, and I've done a conservatory for teaching music, but the lessons are not inspiring me, and I always you have the music lessons, and I have playing at my own on my own.
So you got the theory part. And
yes,
okay,
and
right.
A little bit two different worlds.
Right.
And I realized then if I want to go further on in the professional way, that's not my thing. And I was on the conservatory, and it was all about music, nothing else.
About the written music, basically.
Yeah, music.
Yeah.
And I like to teach also. So I'm really a teacher. So okay. I want to teach music, and later on I become a therapist, music therapist. So
okay.
it was a decision to not go in the professional way. And always play music.
Right. So you want to find out what's inside the person that's making the music, or motivate them to.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. That's fantastic.
And with what you say about being a music therapist, you studied creative therapy in music.
Yes.
That's how you call it on your website too. Can you tell us a little bit more about that concept and the groups of people you worked with?
Yes, I've worked a lot of different groups. I begin with elder people, demented, and later on in the revalidation center. I think it's English word. Especially with people have brain damage, less oxygen in the brains, so they have to they become a totally other person because of the damage. But I've worked 7 years for the forensic psychiatry with youth. So boys who are in the criminal scene, based on psychiatry things. Right. And of course a very heavy background. And music therapy, I use music as a communication, as something to express yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's not that you have to be very talented or you have to play an instrument. No, I use sounds, I use rhythm, and rhythm is very basic, of course. You know.
Right. Yeah, I know.
You know. It's very basic. So your heart beat, your breathing, your walking, the nature, everything is rhythm.
Right.
So and it's structure. So rhythm is structure, and the boys, they are very unstructured. So if you are going to drum or to have a pulse with the boys, you have structure. They have to structure their mind.
Right.
So it's an experience to do the beat.
Right.
Exactly.
And you can so much see in if you look at someone who is what way he's drumming
with the rhythm, whole rhythm,
with the
how they
rhythm.
feel. Yeah.
You have to choose. You have
Right.
to. You have to play together. You have to. So, music therapy not in a magic way or something. You are listening to music and it's healing on its own. No, it's very basic, and to work with music as a communication.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, I know that from. I'm teaching myself, of course, and I've had 2 students who were, how do you say that, autistic?
Autistic, yeah.
And one of them couldn't even talk, but I could understand him. I could communicate with him, and he was really shut down. And when we started to play drums, then you know he opened up. He got a smile on his face, and every time he left, he seemed to feel better.
Yeah.
That's what I, you know,
That's
what they told
wonderful.
me.
That's the power
Yeah,
of
exactly.
music.
And I've worked with a group with, you know, guys with aggression problems and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they, you know, they
mellows
mellow
out.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm very interested in what does it do for people with, for instance, brain damage. How do you deal with that?
Now, sometimes they can't talk anymore, but your brains are very complex.
Right.
Very
Complex, yeah. Complex,
Music is a different place as a language or something. So sometimes they can remember their music from before the accident.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when we listened to music at this period, it was very emotional because they realized something about it were sometimes people who had a car accident and so
Right.
so the time before, and it's very valuable.
Yeah, it's valuable.
Valuable.
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
For them because they can remember something.
Okay.
So it is very emotional, and they can communicate again with that sort of music. So I've made songs with them. They have only text, and of course it's very traumatic. Traumatic.
sure.
Yeah, traumatic.
So
That's traumatic.
to express yourself, to make music, to make your own, and have a recording, and that's me. And
that's
a healing way of music.
That's
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know I've done myself. I've worked with a couple of times in the prison here for the youth prison, where you get the aggressive kids, and you go in, and I got a day to try to teach these kids how to be rhythmically involved with percussion instruments and so on. And I remember, I'll never forget, when I was the first time I went in there, and this was some years ago, here in the one you have here by Utrecht, and one of the guys said, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna get me a bunch of women," and he had the whole do-rag and everything on, because at that time the hip hop music was popular, and you had the rapper Ice-T,
Yes.
and I had just performed with Ice-T before some months before, together with Jan Ackerman. We did this program with on the Dutch television together. So, but anyway, it had been put on YouTube in the meantime. So these guys, I was thinking, how can I get these guys to understand and maybe find a bridge?
A connection. Yes. Yeah.
I had a videotape, because we had videotapes still, and they had a video recorder in there. So I had a videotape, and I asked the prison guard, "Can you pop this videotape in so that they can see this?" And then the videotape came on. Oh man, you played with Ice-T, and then there was this whole thing with it. And at that time, I still had my dreads, my hair, But in the process, it was like a bridge, and once they got that connection, it was a way to communicate with them.
It's the first step. It's the first step to make contact with the guys in this case. So that's the music. It does, and of course the boys, they don't like to talk. No, I don't have a problem. The world, that's the problem. So that's a lot of resistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you want to have contact and to have a connection, then you can use music. So that's the first step.
That's the first step. Yeah. I think for a lot of if you look at a lot of famous names in the music business, the music industry that are now big artists or in the past, they quite a lot have had very difficult childhoods, or, fatherless, motherless, parentless.
Maybe that's why they are very good musicians.
And exactly, well, that's the one thing they're able to hold on to, to give them something to to build on and express their feelings.
Yeah.
And a lot of the top guys, I mean, you look at Ray Charles's past, for example, if you know his history. We mentioned James Brown in an earlier podcast, and a lot of some of the rock guys that have had troubles, and you think, wow, and that gives maybe the drive. But
I think a real good musician or artist is, in a way, you have to be on the stage very kwetsbaar. I don't know.
You gotta be
vulnerable.
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 And then there you are.
Yeah, there's always a certain unsurety, insecurity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And because of that, when you go on that stage, that sort of, I guess you say, extra personality can come out at that moment that you need to have to get your public to kind of link up with you. While I'm busy with that, I was just I know you working with the Sky Blasters, which is an amateur big band, and you guys did a real nice little video recording with me on my what was it, my YouTube page I have, and with a Michael Jackson song with Billie Jean, we did a little jazz version of that. But knowing you as a hobby big band player, and do you use some of your same techniques as a therapist when you're working with the, let's say, with the big band, or is it more for you like, hey, this is my night out, and with a bunch of nice people, I just want to have some fun, because of course they're all coming from different backgrounds and it's their hobby. Yeah. So how do you keep them motivated as well? There must be some form of therapy you're working with them indirectly.
Indirectly. I think it's not. I'm not doing. It's very I use this technique. No, it's not working, because they are coming for fun. But I think that's especially of the amateur big band. I think the word amateur is from amor. I don't know really, but
that's true.
Love. Yeah. So they love to make music every Tuesday evening. That's their hobby. So
absolutely,
it's different with professionals. They have to do every day. Of course, it's always fun to play, but it's their evening on Tuesday. So I love to work with the big band Sky Blasters.
Because you're always so enthusiastic and with them, and
that's my function. Yeah. I'm not a conductor, of course. I know exactly how to do, but it's not my function, because they play. They have the sheet music. It's no problem. Yeah. I have to make them playing together and to make
get the energy out.
Yeah, to get the energy, and I'm jumping, and because that's I think. The music needs that. The performance needs that.
Absolutely,
they are very enthusiastic, and to come out with that sound. So bring together. That's my function.
Is there something in the way you express yourself towards them? I saw a masterclass one day from Gergiev. He's a classical guy who conducts all kinds of orchestras, and one student went up there and he started really busy with his arms and
I know
looking
this
really hard,
this documentary,
and he came on the stand and he was
doing
just
nothing,
almost nothing, but the look in his eyes shivers down your spine, really, and the whole orchestra sounded different. How do you do that? I'm not
comparing with Gergiev, but that's the magic of being conductor. I think every muscle, everything you have to communicate with the band, with the musicians. So you get what you gave them. Right. If I'm not a little bit sad, it doesn't sound so. everything I want to connect with the guys.
Yeah.
I'm not Gergiev, but I'm looking at this documentary and different documentaries, and I saw the
toothpick, right?
Yeah.
Just one toothpick, and he was just
and he turns back, and only his back was to the orchestra, and then, wah, it's marvelous. Yes,
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's unbelievable. It's a body. Yeah.
I know you're working also with children with classical music.
Yes.
And is there a difference, working with the children than say with the adults? Because I mean, children have, of course, this sort of high energy, and they're full of sugar and and everything. No, but there's whereas adults and I don't know, is there the focus attention? Of course, is different between the adults and the children.
Of course.
I mean, but
in essence, not, because I'm working with music, and I work with if I do a workshop. Only it doesn't matter which musical level. If I want that pulse, I want that pulse. Everybody.
Okay.
So you can make it very complicated, but that's what I want. And if there one is falling out, then I want to
bring the other ones.
Yes. So the music, if you have to take the children and the music serious. So that's not a difference, because of course the focus is different, the time, but also of course, but all the sort of music. It's I'm working with classical music also with kids from 6 years or 7 years, with Schoenberg or Messiaen, or it doesn't matter, because it's music, and they are still open yet to that music, and they hear some stories in it, or they can laugh about it, or,
right.
And adults, they are a little bit preoccupied. I don't like the music of the 20th century. It's very complicated, and it's
too sophisticated, maybe.
Yes. Children, it's no problem.
Okay.
If it sounds good and nice, and you play it well, so
they're not bothering you with play some house music, or can you put a house groove to that or something like that?
I always told to the musicians of the orchestra, you have to play on your best. Of course, you are every day in the Concertgebouw, so 2,000 of people. They are paying a lot of money. But now you are in a classroom, but you have to play the same, because you have to take your audience seriously, and then they can handle it.
Right.
But do you have to explain more to children, maybe about the background of the music, or some
it
can
help.
Of the music?
It can help to understand the music. But if it doesn't interest me if they know when the music was composed, or if a violin have 4 strings, and etc. It's for me the music that works. So if they, of course, they can talk about I don't like it, or but it doesn't matter. If you can have the feeling of the soul of the music, and maybe that story, maybe you can make a picture of it, or you can make to understand the music.
Yeah.
And it's not only the theory.
But they all can already play, so they you don't have to teach them how to play the instrument or how to play a certain part.
I'm now talking about in a classroom, and we are going with musicians of the orchestra to a classroom, and they are playing a string quartet of Schubert. Then the music sounds, and I don't tell something about Schubert, or a string quartet is for
just the raw basics about the music itself.
Yes, and then the stories come, and they have questions. How can you play this violin, and what happens if you? It's they are very open to it, and very nieuwsgierig. What is nieuwsgierig? Curious about the music.
Well, we actually curious. We could really go on a lot longer, but unfortunately, we have to close this show now. If you want to find out any more information about our friend Jacco Minnaard, you can go to our website on Facebook, and that's the Rhythm Factory Podcast on Facebook. You can also write us an email if you have further questions. That is at the Rhythm Factory Podcast at gmail.com. That's it for this week. We would like to thank our special guest, Mr. Jacco Minnaard. My co-host, Mr. Peter D. My name is Eddie C. We'll see you around. Take care. Bye.